What if I told you the $10,000 that I manifested came from a place that didn't even exist yet? Yeah, I know it sounds like complete BS, but it sounds like I'm dating Beyonce, but she's in another school, so you can't meet her. That's what it's like. But when that $10,000 came to me, I want to let you know that I'm not special. I don't have some secret manifestation power. In fact, I was the guy who tried every Joe Dispenza meditation for 3 years, and I had absolutely nothing to show for it except more debt and a growing sense that I was doing something wrong, but I didn't know what I was doing wrong and what I should be doing instead. But let's be honest. Have you ever tried to manifest money while also freaking out about your credit card bill? Well, that is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline and wondering why your house is still burning down. But this is what's crazy. The moment I discovered that I was doing it completely backwards, that is when everything shifted. And within just 2 weeks of starting that experiment, well, putting my intention to manifest $10,000, I manifested $10,000 in an unexpected way. Not through some get-rich-quick scheme or by selling one of my kidneys in the black market, but by fundamentally rewiring how my brain and body process the concept of money altogether. And I'm not talking about just think positive thoughts, any of that bullshit that actually makes you feel good for 5 minutes, but reality slaps you back in the face again, or your body just knows that you're lying to yourself. None of that. I'm actually talking about the actual neurological rewiring process based on Dr. Joe Dispenza's work that actually created a completely new relationship with abundance. So if you are sitting there right now with your bills piling up, wondering why your manifestation practice isn't working, or why you keep attracting the same struggles over and over again when it comes to money, or health, or love, whatever it is, then this video is going to answer some of those questions, because I'm about to show you exactly what I did wrong for months and the specific practices that finally cracked the code. So, like usual, I got my notes here. Let's get into it. Now, the first major, breakthrough came when I realized that I needed to stop trying to manifest and start becoming a match for wealth. And that little distinction changed everything. Because when you are trying to manifest, I was operating from a frequency of lack. I was basically telling the universe, hey universe, I don't have this thing, please. Please give it to me. And the universe responds to who we are, not what we want. Okay? That is like going to a fancy restaurant, dressed in pajamas and flip-flops, and then wondering why they don't give you the best table. You're not matching the frequency of the experience you want. So here's what I did differently. I started asking myself, what would a wealthy version of me, how would they think, feel, and what do they do on a daily basis? Not just during meditation, but in every moment. You know what I mean? That sounds crazy, right? That sounds like a lot of work. But if you really nail it down, a wealthy version of me wouldn't stress about spending $5 on a coffee. They wouldn't be obsessively hoping for a miracle that would change their entire financial situation. You know what I mean? And they certainly wouldn't make decisions from fear. So this led me to the practice of collapsing time, accessing my future self, wealthy future self now. Instead of seeing the version of me as something in the distant future, which I saw before, I started embodying that energy immediately. And now, I was one with it. So every morning I would ask myself, if I were already financially abundant, how would I approach today? What decisions would I make? How would I carry myself, right? How would I walk? And let me tell you, I went quantum. This shit is quantum, because when you collapse time and embody your future self now, sounds crazy, but you are literally bending reality. You're telling the universe, I'm not waiting for abundance to show up. I am already abundance. I'm already here. And Dr. Joe explains that at a quantum level, like everything is energy and possibility. And so our thoughts and emotions are literally broadcasting a frequency that attracts matching experiences. Right now, even as you're watching this right now, you're broadcasting a frequency. The problem is that maybe most of us are broadcasting broken, stressed, while trying to receive wealthy and abundant, or trying to access that. And so that's not how frequencies work. That is like trying to watch Netflix on your microwave. It's just, the wrong device. So I got nerdy and I applied 3 quantum principles to my practice. The first is the observer effect. Okay? The idea that consciousness affects reality. So I started observing myself as already wealthy, already abundant, not pretending or affirming, but genuinely observing from that perspective in first person. The second quantum law was entanglement, meaning everything is connected. I stopped seeing money as separate from me and started recognizing it as energy. I like to call it financial currency now. And if with financial currency, I'm already entangled with that consciousness. Third is superposition, okay? Multiple possibilities exist simultaneously until observed. So I stopped fixating on one way that money could just come to me, and I just opened myself up to infinite possibilities on how it can come. However, this is where I messed up. I was so attached to how the money should come to me, and I blocked 99% of the possibilities. Like, it has to come through my business. It has to be this amount of clients. It has to happen by Friday. That is like telling your GPS that you'll only accept one specific route to your destination, even though there's like faster ways to get there. That's what it's like. So here's what I did, and this is crazy. But I surrendered to the quantum field. I set a clear intention for $10,000, but completely released how and when it would show up. And once I surrendered the how, something magical happened. And I started to experience those breadcrumbs that let us know that our manifestation, like we are doing something correct, right? Those breadcrumbs that are subtle nudges, coincidences, opportunities that seem small, but are actually the field, the quantum field, the divine guiding you towards your manifestation. And so 3 weeks into my practice, I felt a random urge to reach out to a friend, you can call them, and I haven't spoken to them in years. I'm like, why are they popping up in my awareness right now? So no logical reason, just a nudge. And I used to ignore these nudges because it doesn't make sense, right? I'm working on my business right now. Why should I reach out to this person? But in the quantum field, logic is limited, but intuition is unlimited. So I started trusting my heart, these breadcrumbs, and reached out to that person. Turns out he was looking for someone with exactly my skill set for a small project. However, the pay was only $5,000, nowhere near my $10,000 goal. Now, listen to this. The old me would have thought, this is not it. Where is my $10,000? This is just $5,000. But the new me recognized this as a breadcrumb and followed it without attachment. So that small project led to a connection with someone who invited me to speak at their event. And again, not the total amount, not big money, just another breadcrumb. But then at that event, I met someone who worked for a company that was deliberately looking for a last-minute speaker for their annual conference. And they had a budget of $10,000. Well, $9,995, but see how that works? The $10,000 didn't come from where I expected it, aka my business or clients. But it came through a series of seemingly unrelated breadcrumbs that I followed without attachment. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. And so I want to emphasize on surrender, because when you surrender the how, you allow the quantum field to work through infinite possibilities. Most of us, well, I couldn't even possibly imagine that, right? I was like too fixated on my business. And so as I continued this practice, synchronicities just started to appear everywhere. Those meaningful coincidences that signal that my frequency is shifting. Like I would think about a specific client, and within hours, sometimes just days, they would email me. I would wonder about a new business idea, and then the exact topic would actually start showing up in my YouTube feed as well. And at first I was like, what the heck? I'm losing my mind here. Am I just noticing these things because I'm looking for them? But how I knew is that they came so specific and so frequent that they couldn't be explained by, I just couldn't explain it. And then one morning I was meditating on abundance, and I set an intention to receive unexpected money. Okay, that was a challenge. Now, that afternoon, I checked my mail and found a refund check from I think it was my insurance company, some insurance, and it was exactly $1,110. Okay, $1,110. 1110. So I realized like these synchronicities just aren't just cool coincidences, but they were feedback from the universe that was letting me know that I'm in alignment. Like, hey, keep going, you're on the right track. But the key is, I didn't get attached to those synchronicities. I didn't think, this $1,110 check is my manifestation, 1110. But I just recognized it as confirmation of my shifting of frequency, not the end goal. Like before, I would be like, oh my God, 111. You know what I mean? And so I would get excited about these small synchronicities. And then I would get disappointed when the full manifestation doesn't show up immediately as before. Now, I know that synchronicities are indicators, not destinations. They tell me to just keep going, and it's not my arrival place, just as of yet. So after about 60 days of this consistent practice, something unexpected happened. Remember that speaking gig that paid $10,000? Well, the way it came was nothing like I imagined. Okay, in my mental rehearsals, I saw money coming in through my business, like a big project, a certain amount of clients, a big surge in sales, but the universe had other plans for me. And so that speaking gig where the $10,000 came was in a completely new channel that I wasn't even in my radar. So the conference organizer had originally booked a pretty good speaker, but they cancelled last minute. And so they were in a blind spot and they were willing to pay a premium price for a replacement. And so the person that I had met through that small project recommended me. And the offer came in a way that I couldn't believe it. So 1 day of work for exactly $10,000, which has been close to the amount that I was manifesting, right? Well, $9,900. And this is why detachment is so important. Surrender is so important. Because if I had been fixating on that money coming through my existing business, then I would have missed it. I would have dismissed this opportunity. However, I maintained a clear intention about what I wanted to manifest, but completely surrendered and detached about how and when it would manifest. That is like ordering Uber Eats or food delivery, but not specifying which driver should bring it, right? I want this guy named Jake to bring it, and he has to have a blue Honda. That's crazy. However, that's what I used to do with my manifestation. I used to just try to control it and micromanage the universe. One of the most powerful lessons I learned was the balance between active creation and passive allowing. Another way to say it is the balance of intention and surrender. Now, most people are either all action, like bro hustling, or no surrender, meaning no space for the universe to work for them. And so the magic happens in that balance. Active creation is your daily meditation practice, right? Daily practice, meditation, mental rehearsal, embodying your future self. It's also following breadcrumbs and taking inspired action when you have those nudges. Passive allowing is surrendering the how and when, just trusting the process and not forcing outcomes. So I spent 30 minutes each morning in active creation through meditation, mental rehearsals. Now throughout the day, I would practice passive allowing, staying open to opportunities while not forcing anything. So when that speaking opportunity came, it wasn't because I was hustling or, trying to find a speaking gig or networking with other people. It came because I was in the right energetic state to receive it. And I followed the breadcrumbs there that led me to that speaking gig. So this balance is like dancing with the universe. That's the best way I can describe it. It's like dancing, doing the cha-cha and salsa with the universe. Like sometimes you lead, sometimes the universe leads, sometimes you're always in sync. That's the fun part. But here's where I messed up. I tried to lead the entire dance. I wanted to control every step, but the most beautiful dance happens when you allow the universe to lead. Sometimes. No, you know what? All the time. When you allow it to lead all the time. Because you're just in the unknown. It's just fun. It's thrilling. And another game changer was when I stopped checking for results. Oh, this was so hard for me. Before I'd meditate on abundance in the morning, I would check my bank account at least 3 times before lunch to see if anything had changed or if this miraculous opportunity had come. I would always check my emails as well. When you constantly check for results, I realized that I was broadcasting doubt to the universe. I was saying, look, I don't really believe that this works, so I need to keep checking. Let me see if someone emailed me for a grand opportunity. So I made a commitment, a declaration, that I would practice consistently for 90 days without obsessively checking for results like I used to do. Like, I would stop anxiously checking, and that's when my manifestations accelerated. Because when you plant a seed, you water it and give it sunlight, and you're trusting the process, right? You don't stand there and demand that it grow faster. That's what I was trying to do before. So this period of apparent inaction, when nothing seemed to be happening on the surface, was actually when the most powerful creation was occurring beneath the surface. Like building the muscles, right? The growth doesn't happen while you're at the gym lifting weights, but it happens during rest. And so the same is true for manifestation. These periods of apparent inaction when nothing seems to be happening, they're actually powerful creation periods. Only if you trust the process, only if you have faith in the divine. But you can't have faith in the divine if you don't have faith in yourself. So the ripple effect just wasn't in my financial currency, but my relationships improved because I was no longer bringing financial burden or stress into my relationships. My health improved because I wasn't constantly producing stress hormones or struggling or dealing with anxiety. And I was more creative because I wasn't operating from survival mode. And I finally understood what becoming supernatural means. Because when you change at an identity level, every aspect of your life transforms. Not just the specific thing you are trying to create, like for abundance for me. So the $10,000 was just the beginning. The real manifestation was becoming someone who naturally attracts abundance rather than someone who constantly struggles to create it. So what does this mean for you? How can you apply these principles that I just spoke about into your own journey? Well, first, you have to understand that manifestation isn't about getting something you don't have, but it's about becoming someone who naturally attracts what you desire or what you want to create. So stop trying to manifest and start becoming a match. That's it. Collapse time and access your future wealthy self now, or in love self now, or healthy self now. Okay? Don't wait until you have the money to feel abundant. Feel abundant now and the money will follow. And apply those quantum principles that I spoke about. Recognize that at the quantum level, what you want already exists as a possibility. Your job is to observe it into reality through your consciousness, surrender the how and when, set clear intentions about what you want to create, but completely release the how and when it will come to you, okay? And follow the breadcrumbs. Pay attention to these subtle nudges, coincidences, and opportunities. They are usually quiet, even if they seem unrelated to your manifestation. Follow it. This is why you have to be coherent, because you have to trust the process during periods of apparent inaction. The most powerful creation happens beneath the surface, when nothing seems to be happening externally. And your body will tell you, your subconscious mind will tell you. But you may be sitting there looking like, come on, Kev, this sounds great, but my situation is different. I have bills to pay. I have real problems. I have an emergency situation. And I get it. I was in $150,000 in debt when I started this journey. This isn't spiritual bypassing, but it's rewiring. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need perfect conditions to start. You don't need to quit your job or move to a monastery, but you can begin right now with where you are, the resources that you already have. The transformation is available to you right now in this moment. You don't need fixing, you're not broken, you don't need healing, you're already whole. Okay, you just need to get rid of the stories that cloud you of that. But listen, if you're someone who's done all the work, read all the books, done the courses, maybe even hired coaches as well, but you still feel stuck in an invisible ceiling, I just want you to know that the real shift doesn't come from trying harder, but it comes from upgrading your identity and regulating that nervous system of yours that actually are the things that run the show. Because that's what changed with everything from myself to clients like Laika, Tanya, and Zarina. And so if you want to see exactly how we broke these old patterns for good and how you can map out your own breakthrough, then click on the link below. There is a description there. There's a link there that takes you straight to the details about my private mentorship, and you'll actually see how the process works and why it's different from everything else out there. So if you are ready to stop circling and recreating the same problems and reality again and again, just in a different day, and finally step into your new next level, then click on the link below to see if it's a fit. And if it is, I would love to speak with you. Because you're not becoming someone new. You are remembering who you have always been. And I want to remind you of that.